You're watching Global on BBC World News. I'm Yalda Hakim from Kabul, Afghanistan, where the Taliban swept to power 100 days ago. The country is on the brink of a humanitarian catastrophe, with more than half of the Afghan population at risk of going hungry in the coming months. Hospitals are close to collapse, people have lost their jobs and are struggling to survive.
What is the point of living with no food or water? My landlord tells me if I can pay, I can stay. If not, I will leave. We've just been abandoned.
Over the past 3.5 months, the face and look of Kabul has changed, and it's been the women and children that have been impacted the most.
Our other main headlines here on the programme: nearly 50 people have been killed after a tourist bus crashed and burst into flames on a Bulgarian motorway. 12 children are among the dead. And going into space to smash an asteroid, a Hollywood blockbuster or NASA's latest project.
Welcome to Global and welcome from Kabul, Afghanistan, where, as we've been reporting, it's 100 days since the Taliban swept to power. It was on August the 15th that the internationally backed, democratically elected Afghan government collapsed and the Taliban arrived at the gates of Kabul. They say they had no choice but to enter the city. Since then, we've seen a country on the brink of economic collapse. We've seen a humanitarian crisis unfold, with the United Nations in the last few weeks saying this is a march towards catastrophe, a march towards starvation. Difficult to ignore the hunger, the starvation and the famine on the faces of the people across this country, not just in the Afghan capital, but in the last week or so I've travelled to the south of the country, once the Taliban heartland in Kandahar, and then to Sangin in Helmand, where you see the famine, the desperation and the humanitarian crisis on the faces of the children there. I went to malnutrition wards and I spoke to people whose children were suffering. They didn't know whether they would make it. This is my piece on their plight.